Introducing Kia's most advanced, premium, and luxurious vehicle. This is the 2026 Kia EV9. This car is powerful, this car is safe. It's got up to 480 kilometers of all-electric range. You heard that right, this is an all-electric 3-row SUV. Sits up to 7 people in it, and there's loads of customizing you can do inside this car. This car comes loaded with all sorts of premium features, from heated seats to ventilated seats, from drive assist to fast charging. Let's get into a super in-depth video of everything that this car has to offer. Let's break it down into sections. First, let's start with the front end. First thing you're gonna notice that's gonna capture your attention is these really cool LED lights with a LED pattern on the front grille. You'll also notice that at the very bottom here, we have an opening. We've got active aero on this car. Very, very cool. Parking sensors all around the car. We got 4 on the front, some on the side, some on the back. The new Kia logo, massive on the front end, but it doesn't really stand out as something that is off-putting. We've also got the side LEDs coming down here. Looks very, very sharp, very, very sleek from the front end. To touch a little bit more on the design of the front end, you'll notice a lot more sharp edges. Like we've said in previous videos, Kia is usually known for very round shapes, but you'll notice a lot of sharp edges. Even on your front pattern LEDs here, we've got sharp edges. We already mentioned on the headlights, we've got that sharp running daytime light. The front end, which I guess you could have called a front grille before, is quite a bit different. You'll notice, again, a lot of sharp edges. We don't really need that much ventilation. Obviously, we need some, which is why we have that down at the bottom there, but everything else up here ties really in nicely to the rest of the vehicle. You'll also notice that we've got a few openings down here as well for more active ventilation and aero. That's pretty cool. And getting rid of a lot of the dark chrome, it's also good to have this sort of matte silver color down at the bottom. It doesn't throw off any of the other colors on the car. Most electric cars, this has a frunk. If I open up the hood here, you'll see we've got a pretty decent amount of storage here. You can leave your charger there, you can put some documents there, a bag, whatever you need, you've got extra storage. Next, let's take a look at the whole side profile of the car. It looks like a big body vehicle. It looks like a 3-row SUV, and that's because that's exactly what it is. Nice thing that they've done here is they've added body colored molding on the bottom there, so you don't have a different colored plastic or different textured plastic, I guess you could say. We do have the nice accent here, but this whole section having that gloss black or matching whatever the rest of the body color is a really nice touch. We've got big 21-inch wheels on the outside, which just adds again to the big body energy of this car. It's quite cool. We've got the side parking sensors I mentioned before, body colored fenders here as well. I'm really happy that they did that. Again, not just throwing off-putting different textured plastics on there. Moving to the side, as you'll see as I approach the driver door, power mirrors will open up and your flush door handles will pop out. Really nice. You can always put them back in if you wanted with that button there, and it closes up and locks up the car for you. Something that the GT model is going to have is this black roof rack that's raised, so that's always nice. You just need your cross rails to add on to that, and you can throw a kayak or a toolie box, whatever you want up there. We've got a factory privacy tint for the back windows here. Keeps a little bit of the heat out and adds, again, privacy for your rear passengers. Overall, just a very sharp car, especially from the side profile. You'll also notice going around the windows, the window trim is also blacked out. So someone who's purchasing a car that's this color, it just looks complete. Only thing you really need is some tint to match the front windows, obviously to the legal limit. And then the whole car will just be complete with that blackout look. Let's talk about the design elements of the back end of the car. I don't know who designed this taillight, but I think this is probably one of the coolest taillights you can get on any vehicle for 2026. I really, really, really like that. Obviously, we have our nice silver EV9 badging and Kia's new font that they've been using. You'll also notice right under that, we've got our parking sensors, our tow hook port right there. We've got some rear reflectors. You'll notice that we actually have 5 cameras on this car. We haven't talked too much about safety features yet, so we'll get a bit into that afterwards. However, you'll notice we have 2 cameras on the back end here. This is your part of your backup camera. The one up here is for your digital rear view mirror. We're going to talk about that one a little bit once we get on the inside of the car. This car is able to tow 5,000 pounds. Many gas cars, many hybrids can't even tow that much. So that's another really cool feature of the EV9. As long as you've got the all-wheel drive powertrain, you can get this car set up with a hitch wiring in your harness, and you'll be towing up to 5,000 pounds with this full electric SUV. To talk a little bit down more into the details, these are the running daytime DRLs, I guess is what you'd say for these. We've also got really cool LEDs all the way through. Whoever did the lighting on this car did a great job. Another thing for the design and details is this rear roof spoiler. This is what protects our wiper blade from the snow and ice during the wintertime. It's tucked away nicely just underneath. Similar to how they did that with the Sportage. It's nice to see them expanding that over all the rest of the Kia lineup as well. Taking a look at the trunk, it's a nice big body vehicle, so having a nice big wide trunk is super helpful. If you're using this as a 3-row vehicle, then you'll have the seats up, kind of like the way we have it configured right now. We've got some factory carpets and the charger in there. Usually those will be set up in other places in the car. So you'll have a decent amount of trunk space here, better than most of the other 3-row SUVs when you have that 3rd row up. The only thing that this would be competing with would be something like an Escalade or something big, or a Yukon like that. So it's nice to see a 3-row that has a little bit of space here without having to go well over the $100,000 price mark. So now that I've got everything cleared out of the way, you can actually see how much space you have back here. Pretty solid for a 3-row SUV, especially with the seats up. Now, something that makes this specific model a little bit nicer than the rest of them, this is the GT line model, which means we have the power seats folding down and folding back up. The buttons are located right here in the right side of the trunk. I press the button for the 3rd row and both seats will drop along with the headrests. And then you get the maximum amount of space that you can have in the trunk here. Now, one of the most exciting parts is definitely going to be inside the car. That's where you're going to be driving it. That's where you're going to be really experiencing it. Let's start with getting into the 3rd row. Being an adult and being in the 3rd row can be a little bit tough sometimes, but they made it very easy to get back there. You'll have a button located at the bottom of the 2nd row seat, as well as at the top. You can get your hand there pretty easily, press the button, and the seat will move itself out of the way. It's fully automatic, so I can just press the button and let go. And then as soon as I have enough space to go in, I can crawl in just like this. Once I'm seated and I'm comfortable in the back, I can press the button at the top of the seat again, and it will bring itself back. From the rear, there's a couple ways to move the seats in front of you. You'll have the same buttons we pressed before located at the tops of the seats, or just down here, we've got a little red bow or little red ribbon. I can pull on that, and it will move much faster than the automatic buttons there. I can also pull the either side. And just for the sake of the video, just so you can see me back here, I'll leave these down. Back seats are super, super comfortable. One thing I really like is that they added a reclining option to the side here. So instead of reaching around for buttons, it's all just right here. I can go forward and I can go backwards. So if I want to get a little bit more comfortable, I can lean back here. One thing I'll notice from here is I got a really good view of the sunroof on the top. So that's always nice, get a little bit of sun in the car. And I've got USB-C ports on either side here, so that at least I don't have to have a cord running all the way to the front if I want to charge my phone. Now, if you're a passenger that's lucky enough to just get to sit in the middle row, let's talk a little bit about that. Starting with the door. First of all, the touch points are very comfortable. This is very soft. And this textured fabric part here, I'm a big fan of that. You'll notice we've got these beautiful Meridian speakers. We'll talk about those a little bit more later. The second row passengers, the reason why I'm telling you that you are one of the luckiest people in this car, you don't have to worry about any of the driving, but you still get all of the same convenience and luxury features. You'll have a heated and ventilated second row seat with 3 different adjustment levels on it. And if the sun's bothering you a little bit too much, you actually have some window shades here. Makes it so that no sun gets through, but you can still see pretty clearly out the window. Taking a look at the seat a little bit more, we saw the button on the side here, but we really didn't talk about the other ones. Something that's special for the GT line package is that you have a adjustable bolster, or not a bolster, sorry, adjustable leg rest. So if you really want to get comfortable, you bring the leg rest up. Obviously we get this nasty plastic off of there. You can slide the seats forward, we can bring them up, we can tilt them down, and obviously we can adjust the rear so you can get maximum amount of comfort from this second row seat. Now that we're inside the car, I want to take a look a little bit at the amenities inside when you're in this seat. So cup holders, as you can see, we've got both of our waters up here. That's 2 spots there. And then in either door, you'll probably see it better over there. We've got another spot for a bottle or a cup or something just in the door. Right here, you've got a little table that can slide out. I don't know if you're going to be allowed to eat in the car considering it's so nice, but it's an option to have that there. And then a little bit of extra storage. And I like that this tucks away under the center console because it keeps the area down here very free of congestion, so I do like that. On the back of the driver's seats, we have more USB ports, and we've also got a little light down here, as well as our own climate adjustment up at the top. We can add auto fans, we can change the temperature, up the AC, and obviously we have rear ventilation here, and a little light that's also LED for us over here as well. Now let's get into the part that you probably all came here to see, the perspective and the POV from the driver's seat. First thing I noticed when I open up the door is the seat has all the same adjustments as the passenger seats in the rear, however, a couple extra ones. Before we get in there and start making our adjustments, I'll take a look at the door here. Same nice touch points we mentioned before, same beautiful Meridian speakers. Now, because you're the driver, you have a little bit of access here to adjusting the windows. You'll notice that all 4 of the windows on the car are automatic up and down. That is something that once you have, you will not be able to live without. I'm really happy they put that in here. Got our heated steering wheel of 2 levels now. We got our heated and ventilated seat options, as well as the memory function for the seats. There's a couple other things I want to show you that are very special about these front seats. So like I mentioned before we got in the car, there's a lot of adjustments for this seat here. Same as the passenger seats in the back. I have a leg rest adjustment up here, which is nice when you have a little bit of longer legs. Also got this button here, which will set you up into full relaxation mode if you're stuck somewhere, maybe charging up the vehicle. You can set it up for relaxation. Got the seat adjustment for height and angle. I've also got the back, and you'll notice here, not only is there a lumbar support, but there's also a bolster adjustment to really tuck you into your seat or open it up and just let your back breathe a little bit. I mentioned that this seat has something very special about it. We now introduce something similar to a massage feature. All these adjustments can be used with that feature. You'll notice on the door, we have this button here. This is going to be for your massage function. So when I press this button, I can switch between a pelvic stretch, a lumbar stretch, or a whole body stretch. All of the adjustments on the seat will sort of move around and let you adjust yourself and get a little bit more comfortable. Really, really, really nice on a long drive. Let's get into the vast buttons that we have inside this car. First little control panel you'll notice here. This is more based on things outside the car. This will open up your charging bay. We've also got the 2 double taps for the front hood to get to your frunk. I can press and hold and open up the trunk. Traction control, we can turn that off if we're having a little bit of fun in the winter time or if you're stuck. Brightness for the dash, that's a nice spot to have the adjustment. And then your automatic electronic parking brake, you won't really ever need to touch this unless you purposely want to deactivate it while you're parked or purposely activate it at some point while you're moving, which I definitely would not recommend. Moving into the steering wheel, this is another section where we have a lot of buttons. We've got the automatic headlights, we've got the automatic high beams. On the other side, we've got our rear wiper and our front wipers. They can both obviously be sprayed. We have paddles behind the steering wheel. This is not a paddle shifter. This is not going to make you change gears. This is an electric car. So what this does is it changes your regenerative braking. With electric cars, as you ease off of the throttle, you're going to feel a little bit of resistance. That's your battery using the brakes to charge itself up. Having a stronger regenerative braking level is going to increase how much, brake feel you get as you let go of the throttle. That's going to get you the most range. However, if you want to feel that's a little bit more comfortable, if this is your first electric car, then you'll want to drop the level down and it's going to drive more like you'd be used to with a gas vehicle. On the steering wheel itself, you'll notice design-wise, it's quite sharp. Again, a lot sharper edges. They added a little bit of a flat spot at the top and bottom here, which is nice if you're a driver who likes to put their hand just on the bottom here. Your buttons here, we've got a cruise control that is fully adaptive, so we can adjust the distance we can follow the car in front of us. Our pages, which changes the center cluster up the front, which we'll get into in a second. Your lane keep assist or lane centering. Other side, we have modes for audio sources, activating your voice control, volume for your radio, again, something we'll get into afterwards, as well as changing your tracks, a preference button, which I'll have some recommendations for you, and answering and hanging up phone calls. Speaking of adjustments, I've also got the adjustment for the steering wheel, which is fully electric, so it's quite precise. I do like that. So if I like to sit my seat further back, I can bring this closer to me so that I can reach it a little bit better. Let's talk a little bit about our beautiful center cluster here. You'll notice the little animation of the car here. You see the lights are flashing. That's because I'm pressing on and off the brake. So that's a nice little Easter egg or touch that Kia's put in there. In terms of the information showing on the screen, We've got our speed, we've got our range. We're showing that our automatic parking brake is on. We're quite close to a stop sign right in front of us on a back road, so it's going to let us know that we're near a stop sign. Also, technically no speed limit on this road, so obviously it's not going to adapt yet. But when we're on the road, it'll tell us the speed limit at the top. You'll also notice up here, this is going to tell us when our drive assist features are active. So if I activate our lane centering to go with lane keep assist, a little steering wheel will pop up there. I mentioned before that there's a little button on our steering wheel that changes what's in the center of the cluster. We can take a bit of a look at that. Now, because the door is open, you didn't see this before, but it's going to show a little bit about the range and drive mode that we're in. Moving on from there, center of our cluster, we've got our trip information, our electric consumption information, tire pressure sensors, range information, whole bunch of details in there, including power distribution, which is quite cool. It'll show you where the adaptive all-wheel drive is sending power, whether it's to the front, the back, mixture of both. It's really going to give you a lot of details there. And the final screen here is just a little compass, just kind of gives us a direction or a sense of direction. It's a nice touch to have there. Let's take a look more inside the vehicle over here. Before we get into the infotainment system, it would be a little bit easier to see from this side. This is our shifter. They've moved it over to the column just to add a little bit of, I guess, less congestion in the center console area. If I turn the knob here, it can put me into drive. Turn it backwards, it puts me in reverse. And I can press the button on the end to go back into park. Our power on and off button is going to be a little bit further up on the column here. And one thing that's nice about this is because it's electric, it'll automatically put itself in park if you were to just shut it off. So for example, I've got the car in drive right now. I come to a complete stop. I'm where I want to be. I can press the power button. The car will automatically put itself into park. Let's get into one of the more interesting parts, the infotainment system. So first thing, before we get into the depth of the screen, we've got this second display right here with our climate control. I'm a big fan of that. Just gives us a good idea of what settings are on, where the air is blowing. Keeps, again, a lot of these areas less congested, which is important for Kia, and important in any car by that means that has this many features on it. Our screen setup, we have different profiles. When you start it will prompt you to choose a profile. Right now we're just sitting on the guest one, but you could open up your own profile or an additional driver profile if you're not the only one driving the car. If I go back, this is your home screen. It's got a little bit of a snippet of where you are on the map, your audio that was last playing, your EV battery range, date and time just up at the top. If I go back here and swipe over, we've got different apps like phone projection, voice memos. Your phone's pretty self-explanatory. This is where you can receive and answer phone calls. We've got phone projection for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on all of the models now for 2026. Voice memos if you want to leave sweet notes for a loved one, or if you get $1 million idea when you're driving, just remember me. I believe this EV9 GT is going to be the only model, the only trim level that will have this very cool seats option here in your tabs. If I click on this, I've got the ability to turn on the warmers and the ventilation for the second row. I can adjust the seats, move them out of the way. I can actually fold seats down from here, which is pretty cool. So if someone's loading something in the back and their hands are full, I can adjust it for them and fold everything down. It's kind of spooky seeing them move like that. That's cool. We've also got a weather app, which will be powered through Kia Connect. And our setup section here, this is all of the features that we can adjust on the car to set it up to your preference. If you prefer different drive modes, you prefer different bass levels, you prefer different ventilation options, this can all be based on your user profile, really personalizing the experience for each driver within the car. Let's talk a little bit about right underneath the screen. We've got a couple little touch pads here. They are actual touchpad buttons. What's really cool, and you won't be able to experience this without coming to see the car in person, is when you press the button, it also has a little bit of a vibration, a little bit of feedback. You might be able to hear it. I'm not sure, but it is nice to have that so it knows for sure. It's confirmation that you press the button. This was something that I was actually quite surprised with when they set it up in the new EV9s. It's a little scroll wheel for your volume. Makes it very easy to make quick adjustments on the music. If you want it louder, if you want it quieter. For our buttons to change modes, to up the temperature and such, it's going to be an up and down switch. Up for the heat, down for the cold, up and down for your fans. And you also have dual zone temperature control, so you can adjust that from here. All sorts of buttons down here for charging different devices and connecting the media on them. And moving into the center console here, we've got hidden cup holders here that are size adjustable if you have a smaller or bigger bottle. Really cool fingerprint ID scanner here for when you get in the vehicle. This will be set up through your Kia Connect. Auto hold, hill descent assist, backup cameras, and parking sensors can all be controlled from the push of a button right here. And a nice little spot to stow your phone away with a wireless phone charger. Another thing that I'd like to mention is, again, the touch points in this car. Very soft, very comfortable. The fabric adds a nice contrast to it. They just did a really good job with the design of the interior. Speaking of design on the interior, you can take a look at this passenger seat here. This specific spec has the white and gray interior. Really, really nice. Another thing that I noticed in this vehicle that you will not be able to experience without seeing it in person is the headrests. It has this sort of mesh cushion. This is probably the softest headrest I have felt in any vehicle ever. I'm very, very impressed. To touch more on design, if you look at the dash at the front here, all of these patterns you see here are going to be from your Meridian speaker system. We've also got, you can kind of see it here, a little bit of a yellowish light. This light can be changed. That would be your ambient lighting in the vehicle. More of that fabric feel up here, and then this sort of textured plastic that's here. I really like that. And if you take a look, nice deep glove box, so that's always nice too. And vents all over the place that are sleek. The design is set up in a way so they don't stand out, they're not obstructive to your view or anything. They're easy to adjust, and the air flows really nice through them. Let's take a look up next. We've got a sunroof for the front. We've got a rear sunroof for the back. You'll also notice, might be again tough to see through a video, but the headliner, another touch point. This is suede, so it's quite luxurious. So I'm a big fan of that. We've got our adjustments to open and close the sunroof, as well as the cover for the rear. We've got some touch pads here with LED interior lights, a towing mode, and I can press this here to turn on all of the lights inside the vehicle. Also, I mentioned a little bit that this car has a premium audio system. That would be Meridian to be specific. There are 14 Meridian speakers inside this car, from the doors to the, I guess again, second part on the door, to the rear, up at the front on the dash. We've got speakers all over this car. The surround sound is absolutely insane in here. We almost forgot our rear view mirror. Right now it's set up so that it's reflective. However, if you're towing something or you need a little bit of a better view, you can flip a switch right here. That doesn't dim it. It actually gives you a view from that extra camera that we mentioned in the rear. So that's pretty cool. We can adjust it. We can change the brightness, the angle, the zoom, and we also have a universal garage door opener connected to that as well. We've talked about design and technology, but what we haven't spoke about entirely is these safety features on the car. We have all of the parking sensors around it. Each one is set up for an emergency braking feature. If you get too close to something, whether you're backing up or driving, it will apply a little bit of brakes to help avoid any sort of collision or mistake or damage on the vehicle. We've got blind spot detection on the mirrors, as well as the extra cameras on the sides here, which I'll show you, so that when we signal left or right inside the car, it's going to show us a live feed of our blind spot. So we've got the 4 cameras on there, which also will tie into a 360 bird's eye view. This car is loaded with other safety features like forward collision avoidance. We've got the lane keeping assist, all sorts of stuff on this car. So let's get into a little bit of a test drive. On our way back to the dealership, we're going to try out a couple of the features here quick, and I'll kind of just speak my mind on what I feel and, you know, what it's like experiencing this car in person. First thing that I've always noticed about the EV9 is the input into the throttle and the brakes and the steering. This car drives very good. I would have expected a car this size to feel gigantic. It does not. It feels like just a regular proper sized SUV. One thing that's really nice about this is, I mentioned outside there's blind spot cameras. So I was able to just signal to change lanes, and in the center of my cluster here, my left blind spot is being displayed. I'll do a stop here, and it was super smooth. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about regenerative braking. I prefer it when it has no regen braking on, so no resistance as I release the throttle. But just for the sake of the test drive, there's the option where I can put it into automatic. So it will do it based on, I guess, driving speed, based on how much battery charge I have right now and what my drive mode is. So I should get a little bit of resistance now. But if I want to manually make it stronger, increase the strength, I can just press and hold the plus button, bring it all the way into iPedal mode. So technically I wouldn't even need to press the brakes. I could just let the car come to a complete stop. Someone who's transferring into this car from, let's say, a Tesla, you might already be familiar with that feature and might already be comfortable and be looking for that. That's something that this car has to offer as well. This thing is fast as well. Whoa. And like, that wasn't even all the way down. This thing flies. For a big, heavy vehicle like this to move that quick, this is the kind of thing you would need a turbocharged V8, a big SUV like this, for it to move just as quickly. This thing's performance is incredible. And to think that they've released a performance model above this one. So now, this used to be the top model. Now we've got something called the GT, not the GT line, it's the full GT performance model. Similar to the EV6 GT, it's got a much higher horsepower output, a lot less range, mostly because you're using the battery a lot more for the power, but that's just something that's a little bit different. All right, so we are getting onto the highway now. Because we're going on the highway, I like to activate my adaptive cruise control and my lane follow assist. So just activated my lane follow or lane keeping. So it's going to follow directly in the center of the line, and we're going to turn on the adaptive cruise control, and I'm going to do distance 2, which is about 2 car lengths away from the guy in front of us. Now I have set my speed faster than this guy is moving, but because I have my adaptive cruise on, it's going to pace him as we drive. Looks like the lane keep is on, but not the lane centering just yet. Let's merge. It looks like we have now entered essentially self-driving. Let's see here. Ooh, there we go. We're not supposed to take our hands off the wheel. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes. It'll actually warn you to put your hands back onto the wheel if you're not, essentially, if it doesn't detect any feedback from you adjusting the steering wheel. But it's super accurate. Keeps you in the dead center of the road. It follows the turns. It's really nice on a long drive for sure. As I signal, it deactivates that feature, just so that it's not forcing me to stay in a lane that I don't want to be in. The pickup on this thing is insane. It drives fast, it drives stable. Comfort-wise, the seats are super comfortable. I'm a big fan of this. All of the materials for the seats are, I believe it's 100% recycled materials as well. So in terms of saving the environment or being eco-friendly, not only are you not polluting with gas, you're also going to be saving using recycled materials inside the car. It's sort of, I guess, a double bonus for anybody who's trying to be as eco-friendly as possible. And as we approach the dealership, I used a little bit of the electric, I guess, range on the car, so we're going to want to try and charge it up. So when we get there, we're going to go and review the charging port, a little bit more information on range, charge times, adapters, what type of port we have there and what it's compatible with. And we'll just get the, I guess, final thoughts in on the vehicle. And then if you're ever interested in coming to see it, we can plan that out. Your charger is going to be located on the back passenger side of the car. It's going to be a little touchpad on there, which will show you how it works in a second, just how to open it up. The 2026 models now comes equipped with a NACS charging port, which means it's compatible with a lot of the superchargers, the ones that charge up your car within 40 to 60 minutes. Some of them actually are up to 24 minutes on them. This is the GT line model. This one specifically gets about 450 kilometers of range. The max range you can get on any EV9 is closer to 500, but you're not getting all-wheel drive and you're not getting all the bells and whistles. So I would say expect to be around that 450 kilometer range on most of the models that people are looking for. Let's take a little bit of a look at the actual port itself. You've got a touchpad on there, so you just press it inward and it will open up and see your fancy new NACS charging port. We've got a little button here, which is going to hold your charging, and if I press this, it will close it up. Now, if you're still using one of the CCS chargers, you can get an adapter with it. Kia is actually going to be providing for free with your EV9 an adapter. I believe they haven't rolled out the adapter just yet, so if you're buying one and you're one of the early birds, you'll have to wait a little bit for it to come in, but you can actually claim it and have them deliver it to you through the Kia Connect application. If you remember, in our last video, we said somebody who comments and subscribes to the channel will be entered to win a $50 gas card. Today, we are going to be doing one of the draws. We loaded in all of the comments and subscribers into a random generator, and I'm going to launch it here. I'm going to hit confirm. Just gonna hit confirm here. We have a total of 38 participants this time around, so the odds are pretty good. Let's see here. It's generating it in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the winner is Devanora Munoz. I definitely did not pronounce that right, but congratulations. We'll reach out to you and provide you with that $50 gas card. If you are interested in winning next time, remember to subscribe and comment down below on what you thought is the most interesting feature on this new 2026 EV9. So we talked about the design, we talked about the technology, we talked about the safety features, we talked about the advantages of this car, we talked about the charging, we talked about a lot of stuff. I hope you guys liked the video. Again, my name is Aiden out here at 490 Terry Fox Drive in Canada. We are one of the #1 Kia stores in the city. Just read our reviews. You can reach me at 613-793-1053. Thanks and have a good day.